Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is Comely here, and today I am happy to bring to you this little kind of Genesis in-house. I am not casting alone. With me tonight is also Hatch. Hatch, how you doing? Why don't you tell the viewers who you are and kind of what's going on in this game today?
Hi, my name is John Hatch. I am going to be the owner of Team Genesis. We have two sponsors. Can't name them yet, but we'll be able to shortly. This game is a tryout for some of the remaining spots. Genesis is hoping to have a European and North American division, and we're going to be looking at some of these characters rather specifically throughout the game, and I will get back to you on those specific characters in a bit.
Yeah, alright, so far what we do have is we have Grace here on the Corrupted Disciple, Honk Beep Beep on the Dimphora, that is a lovely name, Dream FX on that Pharaoh, Breezy on that Pyromancer, and JP over there on the Behemoth. That's going to be making up the Legion team. And over on the Hellboard team, we have Eclipse on Slither, Trash Storm, which is some kind of mysterious sub-account on the Valkyrie. We have Cakes on Bubbles, which many of you will probably recognize, Ankh Cirque on Myrmidon, who's just trying to challenge my pronunciation skills, and of course Purple Haze over on the Andromeda. Right off the bat, Hatch, what do you think about the teams? What do you think about the kind of the picks here in the just matchups?
Well, I actually threw these teams together to hopefully make a competitive game. There's going to be a varying skill level. Some of the players in here are going to be at the pro level, and then some are going to be probably a little too far behind that. So I tried to divide those players up specifically. Again, I haven't seen all these people play, so we're going to find out how accurate my assessment was. Some people I really want you to keep an eye on in this game are Eclipse. Trash Storm's a wild card. He could play awesome. Grace as Blue on the Legion is probably going to be interesting to watch. And then there's some really good people. Almost everybody's actually quite good in this game.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be really exciting. I kind of like watching these high-level in-house type games where we see people that are, you know, used to doing things that we don't always see in the same kind of MSI lineup, EG lineup, you know, or I guess SK Now lineup, where they run very similar kind of lineups. And these kind of things, you can see new strategies, you can see new ways of playing characters or heroes and things like that, and it's really exciting for me to actually get the chance to watch something like this, which is part of the reason why I'm so excited to cast this today, is that I get the front row seat and I of course get to control the camera, which is the best part of all of this. We did have a quick pause here, but it does look like right off the bat the Hellboard team is going for a little bit of a risky strategy trying to gank on this Pyromancer. Do you think it's going to work out?
Sorry, I got a little distracted with some text there. What did he go for?
We're having the Hellboard team. They have both the Andromeda and the Myrmidon ready to try to get a pick off here on the Pyromancer. If it pays off, it could be really good.
I see what you're talking about now. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
he's going to be in trouble. Maybe that's why he paused it. Maybe he got a little nervous. You never really know those things.
Yeah, you know, the little super specific planning stage where you get to plan out every little last hit and everything. You're staring at the creeps. But I'll definitely be interested.
I'm not sure about the reason for the pause here, and then I see that. So that is probably the reason for the pause. A little disconnect from Cakes. I'm going to look into that real quick.
He did reconnect, so he probably just needed to tweak a setting or something like that. Or, you know, maybe they just wanted you to feel comfortable that it's a competitive level game, and of course it has to have a pause right off the bat.
They take it seriously. They're trying to take this seriously. I know actually for a fact that a lot of people are taking this game very seriously. There's a lot on the line here. And Cakes, I hope that Cakes pulls it out pretty well in this game. He's one of those people that has a fair amount riding on this. I've talked to him a few times beforehand, and obviously he's one of these 10 players trying out for Team Genesis. I hope to have more games with you casting these.
Oh yeah, it's always fun, especially when you get to see somebody like, you know, Cakes really step up, really do the best that he can, and really focusing in a game where a lot of times we see him in kind of like an in-house situation, where of course he does spectacular because he's such a great player, but you know, you're not always as hyper-focused as you are in like a high-level match like we're probably going to see today. I will be interested to see how he does on that Bubbles. You know, the take cover nerf has ended up being something that hasn't hurt Bubbles so much that he's not played, but it does still make for a little bit less of kind of finessing in the play. I'm just kind of interested to see how he manages to play the Bubbles, and if he manages to be really successful with that. Going up against the Pharaoh, I would call that, you know, a fairly even matchup. I don't expect to necessarily see any kind of early kill in that lane, and if it did, it would probably be in the favor of Bubbles. Do you have any thoughts on the Pharaoh versus Bubbles?
There's some action going mid right now.
Yeah, so we are seeing that Andro in a very unfortunate position. He is going to get nerfed down. Wow, he's going to get nuked down, and we are going to see the first blood there come out. Again, you know, it's a very risky strategy to go for that bloodlust kill on the Pyro.
Purple Haze was one of the guys I threw into this game and I was concerned about, and I didn't see how he got into trouble there, but I'm honestly not that surprised. I put him as brown for a reason, no offense to Purple Haze, but he kind of felt the wrath there.
You know, I almost feel like that was more of a better play by the Legion team than it was a misplay by the Hellborn. You know, they were really going for that early gank, but the Legion team kind of sensed that something was wrong. They had a lot of time in that pause to really think about what they wanted to do, and so they moved there. And, you know, Andro starting with such low HP, you know, 454 HP, there wasn't a ton she could do when she really got caught out there. And that's really unfortunate for the Slither, but he is doing a really good job of holding out the lane right off the bat.
That Andro move, it's one of those things where you get caught slightly out of position on the gank. At the pause, we all got to see Pyro in that precarious position at mid, and it's one of those things Purple Haze probably went a little too far, sorry, Andro, went a little too far forward, and positioning and not making that mistake is critical, especially to the start of the game. First and all that. Got some action top.
Oh, we certainly do. Oh, just so low on the Pharaoh. Staying at 11 health. Oh, I'm not sure if Bubbles actually got the last hit there or if the creeps finished it off for him. I believe it was probably the melee creeps. You know, they do 21 damage. He only had 11 HP, so it was enough for them to actually finish him off. Just so close. They're just almost barely managing it away. And, you know, you do see that Bubbles definitely has the early advantage there as far as trying to get an early kill. There's not much that Pharaoh can really do to get a kill on the Bubbles. He's so easy to get away. But Bubbles, you know, conversely has the ability to really chase down that Pharaoh and punish him for that. So really nice job there by Cakes on that Bubbles.
Absolutely, totally agree with you on that. And anytime you're melee against a pro level ranged, I mean, you're gonna have to sacrifice yourself at some point. I mean, obviously you don't want to, but it's kind of a war of attrition that you're going to lose eventually in most circumstances.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most difficult positions, you know. We see players like Fresh Pro who really excel at playing something like that Pharaoh in the solo lane. I guess not hard lane necessarily, but solo lane. So moving on a little bit, we see Slither here going mid against Pyromancer. He's doing a really good job at keeping Pyromancer low. He's doing a really good job just kind of controlling the position of the lane. Pyromancer managed a really nice stun and combo off there. He gets the baby taunt, which is the most disturbing thing in the game, but they do manage to get a counter kill on the Slither. So it's a 1-for-1 kill there. Hatch, I don't know if you've ever seen that baby taunt, but it literally makes me feel uncomfortable.
It's relatively new, and if it wasn't gore, you see, there's the gore taunt too, and you kind of want the gore and the baby. That's why I think you got to go with the baby. It's insulting, it's rude, it's all those things.
I just don't know why the poor baby has to explode. We do see Case getting yet another kill up there on top with Pharaoh, and a little bit of action here at bottom. What an action-packed game we have here. I really like it. We've seen the supports from the tri-lanes on bottom all being really active in the early game. They were really setting up those early kills, and they're still being really active in the tri-lane, and we did see kind of a 1-for-1 exchange almost there between the whole team, which is leveled it up at 3 versus 3. Both teams playing really well. Slither does manage to miss his poison spray there on the Pyromancer. That probably would have put Pyromancer in a pretty uncomfortable position, so a little bit fortunate for him that he was not hit by that poison spray by the Slither near the observatory, not the secret shop.
Absolutely. I'm still questioning that change. I really struggle with trying to push and buy items. But apparently they have plans for it, and hopefully it will be more useful in the future.
Yeah, if I had $1 for every time I walked to the goddamn shop and tried to buy items that aren't there, I'd be a rich man by now.
Absolutely.
So
the tri-lane's kind of broken up at bottom. It looks like the Legion has a good amount of sight down there, and Behemoth might be in trouble, but he's got the sight, so he's feeling okay.
Yeah, and that vision is super important. It's way more important than you might think, to really have that confidence in moving around and all of that. But, you know, we're seeing a really good job by the supports. Again, this is kind of the thing that makes the tri-lane metagame interesting to me. You know, a lot of people for a while were complaining that tri-laning was very boring, but you're seeing these really active supports. You see they come in and they get the kill on that Pyromancer. Just like Eclipse also managed to get a kill there. I'm sorry. Pyromancer also managed to get a kill there, a little bit of a counter kill onto that Myrmidon. But of course, that's a sacrifice they're willing to make. A Myrmidon for a kill on their mid is something they will take any day of the week. As I take a nice, lovely drink of water here. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, so we're seeing quite a lot of movement here by the supports. We see Myrmidon went right up top after he rezzed. This Pharaoh's going to be in a very unfortunate position, especially if this Myrmidon is actually able to manage to hit his weed field, and he just does a perfect position. You see the combination there between putting the carpet in a position where the weed field kind of forces him to run through it, and Pharaoh is going to go down once again. So, we have Cakes on the bubbles. He's already 3-0. It's just a tremendous amount of momentum for him. He's really going to be able to be very effective in kind of counter ganking and doing those TP counter ganks that Bubbles is just so good at with that kind of shell surf into ultimate combination. And again, really, really great movement here by the supports. We see a double damage Behemoth roaming around as well as that Nymphora. They're just kind of moving around because all of the supports are just not happy just sitting in lane, and it's really important that you guys do that as well. It's a really good habit to get into. If you do this kind of thing, this kind of movement, these kind of ganks right here where you see Thriller just absolutely get annihilated, you're going to find yourself winning way, 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 way more games. It just feels so great when you manage to execute those and do really well.
And I'm back.
Welcome back.
Missed everything up until right now.
You missed some really great movement by the support on both teams. I'm really impressed with their movement. What do you think about kind of this tri-lane metagame that we have right now where the supports are super active rather than kind of babysitting something like a Dark Lady?
I love games where supports play a prominent role. I actually loathe and despise carries, and I wish that every game consisted of 0 carries. That's just my personal opinion, but that's the way I feel. I think it makes for a more versatile and interesting game style rather than going, oh no, watch out for that guy because he's going to auto-attack me down slowly.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I used to really, really enjoy playing things like Dark Lady, but once you kind of have the aggressive mid-bug bite you, it's very hard to ever get over that. Crypto Disciple is in a little bit of an awkward position here. You can see the Helper team is definitely trying to set something up on him, but the Behemoth Fissure is just so powerful. That's a perfectly placed Fissure.
What a good separation there.
Oh,
oh, he gets Purple Haze.
Grace gets the kill there, but all the glory kind of goes to the Behemoth. That was just such a perfectly positioned kill. Valkyrie is getting low as well. Oh, we do see Cakes comes in for that counter kill. Again, we saw that he was ahead on levels, he was ahead on momentum, and he was really able to do those counter ganks just so powerful on Bubbles. That's why he's such a good character to put in that long lane.
That was an interesting little thing that happened there. The glory did go to Behemoth, but then they over-chased, and they're going to end up going for a 1 for 3, I think, out of this. And that's one of those things is they lost some of the sight in the forest that you were talking about earlier, that advantage, and it really cuts deep when you take a 1 for 3 there,
Yeah, and 100% of that 1 for 3 really goes to Cakes on the Bubbles. Obviously, he got that first kill, but he also very directly led to the second kill as well that let them get that little extra kill there on Nymphora. So perfectly played by Cakes. He knew exactly when to leave the lane, and that lets Valkyrie just hop to the top lane and farm there as well. She's got her level 4 call of the Valkyries. She's able to farm it really effectively. Just really impressive kind of coordination here by the Hellborn team, and we do see they're going for a little bit of a push here on this bottom lane as well.
The bottom lane has been where all the action has been. It's hard not to ignore the top lane with Dream Effects versus Trash Storm now. That's a Valkyrie and Pharaoh. I mean, that's a tough lane for a Pharaoh to be in, but you got to try and get as much out of it as you can, a little bit of experience and gold, whatever you can to keep that mid-game going for you.
Yeah, definitely. The Pharaoh is doing a good job, despite the deaths, despite having very tough lanes. He's still level 7. He's still doing a good job of getting the farm when he can.
I agree with you 100% on that, and I just want to point out that to maybe our less skilled players that breaking even in that top lane is a win. That's important to do the best you can. You're going to die for your team. You might not make as much gold, but doing 40% instead of 80%, that's fine in that top lane.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really, really important point to bring up, because a lot of people that I'm playing with that want to kind of move into this tri-lane metagame, they don't feel comfortable in that top lane when they perform like that. They feel like they're really throwing the game and they're doing a bad job. But you would be surprised how well you can do if you just focus on those levels, you focus on getting those levels, and then you come out and you really make your presence known more in the mid-game than really panicking about the early game too much.
A lot of the replays that I've watched of these high-level players, you see a 10-4 or something that in a pub game you might give up at that point. In a normal mode game, you'll feel a little uncomfortable at that 10-4. It turns into something worse. But in a pro game, I feel like playing for that mid game, just having the money on those people, it really pays off in the end.
Oh, I agree 100%. That's really the kind of thing that, as you play more and more, you really kind of pick up that game sense of, okay, when are we losing the game, and when are we really actually losing the game? And the two tend to be a little bit more different than a lot of people would suspect. And it's one of the things that I'm still working on as a player, is figuring out when I can make a comeback and when I'm actually need to just go ahead and call it a day and move on.
I think that that's something that determines a great player, is being able to realize before everyone else when the game has shifted, because games shift a lot of the time, and this is one of those games that it is actually a very close game. A lot of action's about to happen at bottom, so let's check that out.
Yeah, when you see Behemoth moving in, he's trying to get a really good position. You know, he's not being overly eager, and so he did let him get the stun on Slither as well, because he was patient. But again, Bubbles is there to really take care of business. He gets the double kill. You know, just so powerful in this Bubbles. It looks like they might be able to get Corrupted Disciple here as well. Really nice block by the Slither. Oh, but Pyro comes in and gets a really nice ultimate off, but it looks like it is going to be enough for to actually get the kill on the bottom.
Pyro with a very good port there. You know who else needed to port? Pharaoh needed to. Even though he's got full mana and he's got everything, he needed to port down there and do something there, because that could have changed up, you know, one kill for one death, and that would have helped out big. And now he's there, but it's a little late at this point.
Yeah, definitely. You know, having the communication to really know when those long lane, I keep calling it long lane, I guess just say solo lane. Solo lane people know when they need to port in and when they need to not to. And it looks like that communication was a little bit lacking. We did see a Pharaoh ultimate here onto the Bubbles. It looks like he did choose to use his Shell Surf, and that put him in a really dangerous spot. And I would not be surprised if he went down there, but Slither is going to try and come save him, but it is not enough. Corrupt Disciple just barely managed to get his wave off just before he managed to get away. Slither in a very dangerous position as well.
But he's got some backup coming in. We got 4 all of a sudden. See, that's the teamwork you want to see at that high level of skill. They all get there almost instantaneously, buying the 135 port over and over and over again.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if Corrupt Disciple is going to manage to get away here. It's going to be very close, but you see the Valkyrie having very good positional sense. The team kind of encloses around him. They didn't all chase him in the same direction. I wish you could see my overarching hand movements right now, but they didn't move in the same direction. They kind of enclosed around him.
As a tutorial for our lesser players, I also want to point out that that's one of those things. Never, if you have 3 people chasing one, do not follow the first 2. Cut off a line, pretend you're a linebacker in the NFL, and just run to make him not be able to go a different direction. It's corralling the cattle.
There you go. You know, it's one of the things that you try to explain to your team as it's happening, but you're in such a panic. You're like, no, don't go there, and nothing gets done. It does look like this tower is going to be able to get denied by Pharaoh. Very nice porting by him. You know, to have the confidence supported for that situation.
Cakes with a kill on Pyro there. Sorry about that, but he was just got him on the last second before he ported out. Cakes is playing well. That's what I'm going to say. Bubbles, playing well.
Oh, definitely. We see 14 minutes. He's got his portal key. He's got his steam boots and his chalice, as well as that mana battery. Just a really great kind of core set of items here on this Bubbles. He feels like he has enough regen. You know, he didn't need to overbuy. He didn't wait to finish his power supply. He didn't need to get a bottle or all that. He really has that core set of items that he feels very comfortable with. I'll be a little bit interested to see where he chooses to build from here, actually. We see him picking up a couple of homecoming stones, but obviously that is not really a big pickup by any means. He is sitting at about 300 gold, you know, so nothing great at the moment, but I'm definitely interested to see where he progresses from here.
You get that portal key on Bubbles, and he is up there with Dr. Repulsor as the most annoying person on the planet. Almost unkillable in that he is just non-stop going to be able to jump around and hop around. And the thing is that it pulls aggro from the rest of his team. It makes the Legion team focus on him, and then all of a sudden he's gone and they're out of position. And it's really a problem, especially in this middle game, because late game he's going to get killed in a few hits, but at this point, I mean, oof, you do not want to be chasing him. That's what you don't want to do.
Yeah, you know, I almost feel like he forces you to play a little mini game called Try to Fucking Kill the Bubbles. And it's really hard to do, but it's almost kind of fun to try and lock him down and kill him at this point in the game.
Absolutely. We still got a good game, though. I mean, this is one of those games that you see the Corrupted Disciple. I mean, I've seen so many pro games where there's that Corrupted Disciple and he hangs around and eventually creates all sorts of havoc for the other team. And I think that that's probably one of the Legion's most promising aspects, is that Grace on Corrupted Disciple is he's doing well. He's doing very well.
Yeah, we did just see a missed Pharaoh ultimate on that Myrmidon. I think he probably would have been able to get a charge off, just even if it had hit. But you know, you want to see those Pharaohs be really, really, really snappy with those ultimates, always hitting them, always making sure they're in a good position to hit them. And every missed one kind of makes you hurt a little bit in your soul, at least me. But I am very sensitive to Pharaoh play because he is one of my very favorite heroes to play. Just so fun, so very fun.
I loathe and despise Pharaoh, and I actually like a lot of melee characters, but it's just, I don't know, something about Wall of Mummies just makes me angry. Looks like Pyro's in a little trouble up top, and I don't see how she gets out of this one. But a good try on casting those spells before she dies. Unfortunately, Cakes is playing pretty exceptional as Bubbles. He turtle shells that and doesn't take the damage from the ult.
Yeah, he actually did one of the only things in the entire game that actually disjoints, quote-unquote, the Pyro ultimate. Because, of course, you can't actually disjoint it with typical blinks and such like that. But if you do the take cover to prevent the damage, it actually will disjoint that ultimate. So very unfortunate for the Pyromancer for that to happen. We do see Eclipse getting a kill here on the poor little dead Nymphora on bottom as well. The Hellbourne team is really kind of taking a little bit of a momentum boost. You can see how the game has been so close for so long, but now you kind of feel like the Hellbourne team is ahead, right? Because they're kind of controlling the pace of the game.
And to our medium and lower level players, this is the type of thing you need to get a feel for. There's this map control. If you draw a line dividing the two sides of the game right now, you're going to have 66%, a third of it for the Legion, and 2/3 of it for the Hellbourne. And that's really an indicator. When you start feeling like you can't leave, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. And a good team in the Hellbourne situation here just leans on that. It's like a poker game. You lean on your opponent until they're just blood dry because they can't make the same money you can.
Yeah, and you're really seeing that the Hellbourne team support, I'm kind of moving my camera around the area that they're controlling with wards right now, which is really kind of in the middle of the map, shifted over to the left, right? It's like a big circle of wards and counter wards, and they own that area of the map. And owning that area of the map lets them own everything above it and kind of to the right of it, which includes their whole jungle. And so they're doing a really good job of map control. I'm really impressed with the ward placement here by the Hellbourne team. I wish I were paying a little bit more attention to who's actually placing them. Oh, we do see Bubbles going right into danger. He's definitely going to get nuked down. Wow, big team fight here. A little bit of an unfortunate behemoth ult. He did manage to get a little bit of damage off there, but not quite as much as he would have liked. It does look like both teams are probably going to try to back off a little bit here. The Legion team is probably going to try to press what they feel like is an advantage. But we did see a buyback here by Cakes, knowing that he had his spells off, knowing that he could come back and do some work, and he actually chose to buy back and come right back in to the fight. But it looks like he might be in a little bit of a forced position once again, and he does get nuked down for the second time. You know, that's a big gold hit for him to take, but they do manage to kill Krep the Disciple. Yeah,
that is absolutely devastating. I just want to point out, Myrmidon was a little too far forward there. He got separated from his team, and it put everything in a bad position for the Hellbourne side there. The buybacks, you know, that ends up being costly. It's one of those things that it seems like a good idea at the time, but you have to trust in your team that they can get out, and because the buyback, 700 gold or whatever it is at this point, maybe it's a little bit less than that, and then you die on top of it for a second time, and you give him the experience because Bubbles is level 12, he's the highest level person in the game. It really, really, really adds up.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you buy back successfully, it is super powerful, right? It's like game-changing when you buy back successfully. But when you buy back unsuccessfully, it can really hurt you. And you might notice, like, if you're watching this game, now it kind of feels like the Legion team evened it up with that one fight, right? We can just kind of...
It's one of those things... I was sorry to interrupt, but it's one of those things that I was talking about earlier, where the Hellbourne has the advantage and lean on the Legion team. And what he did was he gambled when he didn't need to. They had the advantage. That loss would have, you know, cut it to still their advantage, but not as much. Now it's almost a 50-50 feel. You know, and maybe not quite that, but it's a lot closer.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things where, again, as you play more and more games, you really are able to kind of feel out who is in a position right now. And it feels like the Legion team has kind of taken that aggressing position back from the Hellbourne team.
Absolutely. I just want to say a little bit of my condolences to Nymphora and to Andromeda, because they are behind. And it's in these pro games, another thing I want to point out, that the people are going to be behind because they do it for the team. Someone's got to be on each team, and that's the way it goes. And that's fine, but it still isn't as much fun to play when you're level 6 and everybody else is level 11.
Of course, speaking of minigames like we did earlier, we're seeing a very kind of intense warding minigame going on as well. We just saw Andromeda. She managed to put a ward down, a counter ward down, and counter it on that kind of Legion, the Legion team Ancient spawn, but she managed to get pick off from it as well, because, the Pharaoh was really on the ball. He was really kind of watching out for that kind of thing, and as soon as she started countering that ward, he managed to get his ultimate off and pick off that Andromeda. Oh, looks like there might be
fights here at the double stacked Ancients.
Yeah, the Behemoth ultimate, or I'm sorry, the Behemoth Fissure there was in absolute perfect position to trap that Myrmidon. Very, very impressed by these fissures by JP on that Behemoth. You can definitely tell that he plays Behemoth quite a bit. We do see a death there on that Behemoth that we were just talking about, but he's probably willing to take that.
Sacrificing himself. Someone's got to do that. You're always going to want to sacrifice a Behemoth to maybe save a Corrupted Disciple, and as I say that, the CD goes down. That's the way it goes sometimes, though. There's a lot going on. It sounds like Bubbles is in trouble top, but then again he's Bubbles, and then on the other hand, Pharaoh is in trouble at mid. But the thing is that Bubbles is going to get away for sure, and Pharaoh manages to slip away also, which is all. We'll call it a tie.
Yeah, definitely. We did see a very early Ice Brand here on this Valkyrie. Really wants to be able to chase down those heroes. Really wants to punish them. If they kind of lose a team fight, that Frost Brand can really turn it into losing a team fight very thoroughly.
Arrow.
Oh, just a magical arrow onto that Pyromancer by the Valkyrie. But it does not look like he's going to be able to chase. He doesn't want to suicide for no reason. But Myrmidon...
That's smart, but then I was saying that's smart because he doesn't chase, but then Breezy goes all in as Pyro, and that is exactly what you don't want to do. You want to be conservative in your play at a high level because everybody's good and they will get away. They will find a way to get away.
Yeah, trying to make those big plays happen there. Would have been very impressive if he pulled it off, but you have to keep in mind that if something has like a 40% chance of working, but it only gives you like 30% more benefit than not doing anything, it's probably not worth it. And if you're a poker geek like me, you think about that kind of stuff.
Totally to the point. I used to play poker, and I think in statistics because that's the way I work in real life, and I think we're on the same page there. Everything is about making more money, or not wasting as much money as the other team has to lose. It's about cost to benefit ratios.
Yes, your good old return on investment that you make over the long term.
That's what I'm looking for, exactly.
So, it's really important, and you have to consider that in a game like Han, you have multiple resources to juggle at once. You have time, you have gold, and sometimes you can exchange them. A buyback is trading gold for time, and you have to decide what is the value of each at this point in game. Do I want to spend it? Do I want to save it? And that is really at that kind of level where I think Han really shines as a competitive game, is how people are spending their resources, how well they're collecting them, and thinking of it like that really makes it easy. Oh, very nice ultimate here by the Pharaoh going on to the Slither. I imagine with the Pyromancer they're going to be able to get a quick kill there, and we do see him get absolutely nuked down. Very nice pickup there by the Pharaoh. I'm impressed that he kind of is picking up his game a little bit. It's getting a little bit more solid in his play and his pickoffs as well.
Absolutely. They are in trouble now, though. I mean, they had to get out of there quick. And, see, this is the type of thing, you got to be aware of that map. You're not going to get away with a kill for free. And it turns that 1 for 0 into a 1 for 2, which makes it a bad return on investment.
Yeah. I have to say that if I'm the Legion team right now, I am like cursing the name of Cakes. The Bubbles has been everywhere. He's been in like every fight. You see he's at 10, 3, and 7 right now. That means he's been at 17 kills. That is just a tremendous effort by him to be where he needs to be every time he needs to be there. We see he has a Storm Spear right now. Incredible versatile item. Really be able to see kind of the intricate uses that he uses on that Storm Spirit.
Also, I think maybe it's that Bubbles play that if I'm Legion, I feel a little uncomfortable. And you never want to feel uncomfortable in a game of Han. It's one of those games where you get a feel, and that feel is very important. You have to trust your instincts. And I'm feeling like the Hellborns have control of this game. Not to say that they can't lose that. A bad Kong, a bad push on a tower, and a 4-1 or something like that, which is very realistic and can happen at any time, and all of a sudden it's all gone.
Yeah, if I may transition to a little bit of an anecdote here. I have a friend who plays named Messenger, and I love Messenger. He's one of the best Armadons in the game. But he has this problem where he will say, I feel uncomfortable, or he will say, I feel like we should have vision here, and then he dies because he doesn't listen to his instincts. And you really, really have to start listening to your instincts as you go up in level of plays. It becomes more and more important, and your instincts tend to be more and more accurate. We do see a pickoff here on the Pharaoh. The Hellborn team doing a very good job of sticking together. We see all 5 Hellborn team there to get that pickoff on the Pharaoh. Very nice teamwork here by the Hellborn team.
Absolutely. Now they get a Kong, and I mean they have sight, so they can get away if they are in trouble. But Han is a game, and as long as I cast, you will hear this from me. Han is a game where mistakes count for so much more than Looking Pro. Looking Pro is great if your girlfriend's watching, if you have one, but it's not the same as making a mistake. You do not want to make mistakes in Han. And at a low level of play, it's frustrating because you get yelled at by the angry teenagers online, but honestly, let them die and leave your friends to die. If they make a mistake, leave them to die. It's important to know whether it's a mistake or not, though. That takes a little bit of play to understand.
Yeah, you know, if you think about a player like Chu, and for those of you that watch my cast, you know that I'm kind of a fan of Chu. He really, really knows how to both capitalize on people's mistakes and make very, very, very few mistakes in his own play as well. He makes those really great plays that really make him look like a star player, but he does them so consistently because he has just such a great sense of, I want to say, timing on them, right? He knows when he can actually get away with it and when he needs to play a little bit carefully. It does look like the Legion team is going to go for a little bit of a push here onto this top tower. You know, Behemoth is only sitting at about 600 gold. He's not really that close to his portal key, and you know, if he picked that up, I feel like this Behemoth would be such a game changer in this game, just because his fissures have been so spot on that I really feel like if he had that portal key, he would be able to control the fight so well with his positioning and his fissures. So a little bit unfortunate I'm not going to see that. Valk Zero was spotted initially by the Pyromancer, I believe, and so the rest of his team able to kind of easily dodge that. That's a sign that they're really paying attention to each other, they're paying attention to the map, and all that fun stuff. You see that the Hellborn team is killing these Ancients with the creeps. They're doing it very late in the game. It's still completely valid to pull. It's still completely valid to get that little bit of extra gold, that little bit of extra experience. Pharaoh kind of looking like he wants to set something up here. He is going to go ahead and go in onto this bubbles. Will he be able to make something happen here? I'm not entirely sure. We do see the Storm Spirit go off, and it looks like it's going to be just barely enough to save, you know, Bubbles being played by Cakes. He's got those 10 charges, and oh, this is a very bad positioning for the Legion team. You just saw the slither damage doing so much there. Bubbles manages to get burned down, but he just did already so much before he was burned down. I'm not sure he even really needed to go in, but he made the decision to be aggressive, and it looks like Pharaoh just might get away. I'm not sure if the poison damage is going to take him down. It's going to be very close. It looks like he will actually survive that for another day. And Pyromancer, of course, I guess Pyro just got away. I wasn't quite following Pyromancer through that. We did see him take down the bubbles.
I hope he was there for it. He was there for it, right?
Oh, he was definitely there for it. He got the pick off on the bubbles. He was definitely there. I think he just kind of slunk out and realized that it was a bad fight at that point, and that he should probably go ahead and survive.
Eventually, you have to cut your losses, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, I can't help but feel like that Hellborn advantage is a cloud over the Legion's head right now, and that's not to say by any means this game is over. It is not at all. But you as a Legion right now, you're frustrated, and you have to curb your frustration and just hang in there and wait for them to make a mistake, because they probably will.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the map right now, just look at this warding by the Hellborn team. It's just so aggressive. I really like that warding. They're trying to get a little pick off here on Myrmidon. Oh, Pharaoh does choose to use his ultimate, but will the charge be enough? I'm not sure. Another brilliant
great
fissure.
stun. He's good, and that's that high level of behemoth play that you see.
Yeah, that is.
You were talking about earlier. It is good.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get that. No matter how good you are at Han, you do not get fissures like that without playing Behemoth, at least on a semi-regular basis.
Ooh, arrow, 5 seconds. Can she jump? Yep, well played.
Oh, very nice there by the Valkyrie. It should be just barely enough to get the kill. Bubbles comes in, but he's not really needed. Oh, but now Corrupt Disciple's in a very unfortunate position as well. Swap by Andromeda. It does look like they're able to get quite a bit of damage. No, it looks like they are going to go ahead and pull back at this point. Just really great play by the Legion team. You know, you have to be impressed with something like an arrow like that from the Valkyrie. It's just such an unusual play that most people wouldn't even occur to them.
Yeah, that was a nice. The previous arrow to this Behemoth one was spot on, and the jump. I mean, that's high level thinking.
Yeah, we do
nice
see it looks
stun
like
again from Behemoth.
I feel like the Hellborn team is probably going to want to pull back here. You know, they don't want the Legion team to get an advantage. They don't want the Legion team to be able to push it on them. Looks like they're going to continue to put a little bit of pressure here on this tower. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Hopefully it doesn't come back and bite them. But, you know, a lot of the Hellborn team, or the Legion team, is just so under-leveled at this point, and they do have that astrolabe somewhere on the Hellborn team.
The levels are detrimental for them, but the Hellborn team, everybody was at 60% health, and it probably isn't going to matter anyway.
Yeah, you see a 4-point second arrow on the Pharaoh. Oh, Behemoth does come in and do a very nice ultimate. Does a lot of spread damage there, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. Valkyrie, oh, just barely dying.
Cleaning up would be, oh, but it's the Aegis.
Yeah, that comes into play right there. And, oh, it does look like Corrupted does a good job of dodging that weed field, but he is going to be able to get away. Is he going to continue to chase and try to get this Myrmidon Slither down? I'm not convinced. Oh, very nice portal key there by...
Good, but crazy. Actually, I might have to take that back. Well played. I mean, you get 3 there for 1. A bold move by Breezy. Was that a buyback?
You know, I wish I knew, to be honest with you. Let's see what the buyback counter is. Now, he still does have both of his buybacks, so he was just able to pull back and really wait for the time when he could go back in. And that ebb of flow of kind of leaving the team fight and coming in and leaving the team fight is something that's very, very important for higher level play as well, especially if you're playing one of those heroes that are very good at that. Something like Legionnaire comes to mind specifically, which we don't see a lot, but that ebb of flow of coming in and out of the fight is very, very important on him.
It's critical. It's critical. I mean, and that is incredibly smart. I mean, that's your Dr. Repulsor or your Bubbles too. I mean, those are the look at how many heroes are picked at a high level of play that have an escape. I mean, Myrmidon, Andromeda, even with her ult. You got Bubbles and Valkyrie. The whole team. I mean, Slither's a little vulnerable, but aside from that, I mean, if you don't have one, get a portal key. It's important.
Yeah, you know, anything that raises the skill cap of a hero is something that competitive players will always be interested in picking up and really kind of mastering. It gives you such an edge. That's why, you know, you see something like Invoker in Dota is very popular, because it's just such a skill cap hero that really lets you kind of shine when you really fine-tune your play. And escape mechanisms are definitely one of the things you can do to really elevate that to another level. Oh, Valkyrie going for the pick off there on the Behemoth, but the team just reacts instantly from the invis, and she does get counter-killed instead. Again, kind of going for that big play, but really all it ended up doing was getting Behemoth a little bit closer to his portal key. He's sitting at about 1300. Again, I'm really waiting for that Behemoth portal key. I think he's going to be able to make amazing things happen, especially if he also manages to hit a level 11 in that time. His ultimate is going to become super pivotal in these team fights, and again, his fissures have been nothing but flawless, so... really looking forward to that.
It's interesting because I already felt like he had a portal key, which means he's done a good job of getting into fights. I mean, those Striders are a good investment. For 300 more gold, you can run into a fight as long as you're not engaged, and you know, get to the center of it and hit that R button, and do a lot of damage without the portal key. And he's going to be getting that, and let's see what he can make happen with it. Hopefully, he'll hit 11 at that point, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we do actually see 2 astrolabes picked up on the Hellborn team. Both Myrmidon and Andro have it. And at first that kind of struck me as kind of weird, but when you think about it, for one, you don't have to worry about the armor debuffs kind of overlapping anymore. And for 2, you know, the cooldown is 25 seconds versus the 45, I think, second cooldown on Astrolabe. Yeah, 45 seconds for 25 seconds. And so it's actually a pretty valid pickup at this point to get more than 1 Astrolabe. It's very interesting to see that.
I'm actually curious. So if you have 1, it's 40-second cooldown. If you have 2, it's 25?
The cooldown on using an Astrolabe is 40 seconds. The cooldown on the debuff that prevents you from being healed again is only 25 seconds. And so if you want to use multiple, you really have to pay a lot of attention to that. Ooh, really big, nice action here by the Legion team. They're getting the Hellborn team quite low here. Will they be able to actually manage to convert those into kills? We see Corrupted Disciple running around with his shrunken head, doing a ton of damage here to the Slither, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. That the Legion team is doing a very nice job here, but Bubbles is probably going to clean up both this Pyromancer. Oh, a perfect ultimate by Pyromancer. Very nice team fight here by the Legion team. It does look like they're definitely going to have the advantage here. The Hellborn team is just running for their lives at this point, while Corrupted Disciple is sitting damn near full health. But I do expect
they're hanging in there real well, and a 3-2. I mean, it may not seem like a lot to our viewers here, but a 3-2, and it might, if you can get Valkyrie up top, might even be a 4-2. But the thing is the levels. The problem with the Legion recently, in the last few minutes, is that they're behind in levels a lot. And a 3-2 experience shift, you get 3 kills, and you're going to catch up. It's climbing up that ladder. It's crawling out of the cellar, so to speak, and catching up to that team. Because in a lot of other ways, they can hold this game on an even level playing field. They've got some great carries in Corrupted Disciple, and you know, some real good play from the support.
Yeah, this is turning out to be a much closer game than I expected. You know, the Legion team is making up for things that they can't fix immediately, right? Gold and experience aren't things that you can just magically pop up, but they're making up for it with positioning. They're making up for it with very good use of their spells and abilities in team fights. And I'll be interested to see if they can actually manage to capitalize that and really come back. I almost feel like I wish that the Legion team were on Hellborn, so they could kind of continue to do this and then capitalize with a Kongor kill. But we'll have to see if the balance changes to the Kongor pit are enough to really let them secure Kongor when he is back up, and if they manage to get another really good team fight like that in.
I still don't feel like it's balanced for Kongor. I mean, at this level, that position, I feel Hellborn's got... They just have... It's like having an extra ward. That's the way I would kind of describe it.
Yeah, you know, that seems reasonable. It's not, it doesn't feel as bad anymore, but it's still, I mean, just if you look at the distance that you have to go from the towers, especially when you have that tier 2 tower up for the Hellborn team, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump. And, you know, at this point in the game, with so much mobility on the Hellborn team, it's nothing for them to get to that Hellborn pit, and so it's going to be very difficult for the Legion team to actually capitalize on that. But I'm holding out hope. I'm really holding out hope that they have a really good team fight that leaves, you know, like 4 of them up versus 1 on the Hellborn team, and they're really able to push that advantage to come back. Oh, we do see initiation here on the Andro onto that Pharaoh. Pharaoh in a very unfortunate position. He is a little bit tanky, but not enough to survive that. Yeah.
At the same time, they get a kill on Myrmidon close by, so it's pretty much, well, it was a 2-for-1.
Yeah, you know, and again, it kind of sucks that Behemoth is the one to die at that point. He really wants his portal key. He's sitting at about 1,700 gold right now, which meant that he was probably in, like, what, the 1,900 gold area before he died. And so he's getting extraordinarily close for that, and so it's very painful to die at that point as a Behemoth.
Also, I just want to feel the plight of the tank in Pharaoh's case. I mean, that's rough. You go in and you think you're going to have a nice 5-on-5. You're tanking, you're sacrificing yourself, and all of a sudden Myrmidon comes meandering behind you and into your team. So obviously they kill him, and you just sit there and die and lose gold. I mean, that's... I feel so bad for tanks. I appreciate you tanks out there.
I like that. We should have a tank appreciation day in Han. We'll have a ward bitch appreciation day as well. You know, we'll really kind of celebrate the underappreciated roles in Heroes of the North.
I get mad. I think carry should buy wards. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just, if you got all the gold, I know it's not smart, but I still feel like they should.
You know, there are cases where I could see that, you know, if they don't have, like, some super core item build, like, you know, Malakin really needs that Whispering Helm Shrunken Head as soon as possible. But there are definitely heroes that are a lot more flexible in their item builds, where I could certainly see them picking that up and letting their support pick up those survivability items, or all that fun stuff that they really need to be kind of more in the groove, I should say.
Absolutely, and I think actually Hellborn could have killed Kongor there. I mean, they have clear map control, and they got that kill, and but they don't get the chance to. Well, they don't take the chance to kill him. They get a lot of dragons though over here.
Yeah, if they successfully manage to take this triple stack creeps, I mean, that is a huge gold swing, because not only does your team get it, but you're denying it to the other team as well, obviously, and that is not a small swing. But the Legion team is not going to let them do that for free. You see the scout out there by the Pharaoh. Will it choose to actually go in on them is the question, because, you know, the Hellborn team is getting pretty stubborn here in actually going...
Valk, nice move, Valk, there. And I think the Legion was kind of in a bad position. Oh, there's your portal key.
And we did see how much damage it managed to do to the Hellborn team. Just so much spread damage. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. You see the Legion team is just so low at the moment. They're not going to be able to chase. And Bubbles is probably going to be able to do a pretty good job cleaning up, which you see right there. And Corrupted Disciple, not in the best spot in the world, but he is quite tanky at this point. And Slither really having no way of getting away. He should be able to get a kill here on the Slither, and then try and make his way off.
The arrow is so close. Slither's all devastated Legion in that team, but look at Corrupted, and I was talking about this earlier. This is going to be interesting if he can kill... Bubbles coming through yet again. That would have been the turning point. I mean, if Corrupted wins that last kill over Bubbles, they win the fight. He doesn't, so I'm going to have to give it to Hellborn, but it's still a pretty even fight, all in all.
Yeah, very impressive on both sides. There are points in that fight where you're kind of rooting for either team, right? At the start, you see Behemoth blinking the ultimates, and you're like, fuck yeah, Legion team. And then they all start getting really low, and you see Bubbles trying to clean up, and you're like, fuck yeah, Hellborn team. And those are probably the best fights in Heroes of New Earth for me, are the ones where you're really going back and forth, and you really kind of want both teams to pull ahead in the team fight. This turned out to be a really, really amazing game for me.
This has been good so far, and I'm going to have to further your point there that it's kind of like a gladiator arena. You want to see everybody die. I mean, the best fight is when every single person dies. Like, Slither's ult is the last thing to kill the last guy, and both teams have 5 people dead. That's awesome. You get that last one-on-one, which we got to see there in the Corrupted Bubbles thing, and it's coming down to the wire. I mean, that's exciting to watch, and it's a cool feeling. You got your team that you're rooting for, too, and I have to say, I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so I'm a little bit for the underdog in general, so I'm going to have to be pulling for the Legion at this point.
I agree with you as well. I really kind of want to see the Legion team pull this out. The Behemoth has been doing such an amazing job at really, really, really trying to make it work for his team. And we've seen Pharaoh really trying to kind of clean up his act. He had a little bit of a rough early game as far as not moving around, but he's been doing a good job at really kind of starting those team fights at the imperative moment. And that Pharaoh Behemoth combo just completely becomes different once he manages to pick off, or once he manages to pick up his portal key, I should say.
Absolutely. Look at the position. There's a few extra Hellborn because of images, but it's going to be an interesting, maybe, fight. Depends on if they bite on those images. I'm guessing a fight's happening.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Oh, would you see a 5-second arrow corrupts a disciple? And that's definitely going to be the kind of the tip-off point where they go, oh, Valkyrie doing a very nice job at managing to dodge that Pharaoh ultimate. He knew that it was coming any second. Very nice Slither ult as well. He does a really good spread on that. And we just see damage going absolutely everywhere. We do see a Sheepstick was used on Behemoth, and so he still does have basically everything up at this point, but will he be able to manage to get burned down before he gets anything off? It does look like that's going to happen, and Pharaoh is very low here as well. That Slither ultimate did just so much damage throughout that team fight, and we saw it really come to fruition. There's no way Nymph's going to be able to get out of here, and so now is the moment. Is the Hellborn team just going to choose to Rax? Are they going to choose to try and get the middle? Are they going to get Kongor? Will they actually manage to get both? They have like a solid minute here where they really have a lot of flexibility in what they want to do, and they are going to choose to run right to this middle. You see Valkyrie just running straight up to the tower and beating the hell out of it. Not at all afraid. They really want to maximize their time that they have right now, really use that time resource as valuably as they can.
Absolutely. I mean, that was an exciting fight. The Legion was surrounded in the beginning of that fight, and a 5-second arrow was enough for... oftentimes being surrounded is actually not horrible in this game because you have a centralized group of heroes together, but in this case, that 5-second arrow was enough with the advantage to pounce on them, so to speak, and you get 30 seconds here. And at first I would say go with Kongor, but they did the right thing, absolutely. There was no buybacks. A buyback there would have been critical for Legion. They may have been able to save middle, but it's looking grim at this point. That might have been the nail in the coffin, especially... Ooh, this is a sneaky little play they're pulling out here. Oh, there it is.
Very nice Valkyrie ultimate there. Again, a little bit of creative use of a spell that we use every day. Behemoth does manage to get his spells off as well. They are going to punish the Hellborn team for this. Is this going to be a critical mistake by the Hellborn team? We'll have to see who actually manages to get away and who gets killed.
Okay. I was going to say, if Bubbles gets out of there, that's ridiculous. He didn't, though.
Almost. It was a valiant effort on his part. Just barely not managing to get away. Will Valk actually manage to get away? It does look like it just barely. We see that slow on the Corrupted Disciple going to be enough to really hold him away. As well as... Ooh.
This is another one of those points. It's like... Wow, people are getting greedy on both sides. I have to think the Hellborn shouldn't have gone in, and I feel like Legion shouldn't have gone in here, but again, I've been wrong before, and I'm not sure I'm wrong this time.
Yeah, I think this Nymph is just barely going to manage to... Oh yeah, you see the ward just barely out of range. If that ward taps Nymphora, she's basically dead there. Ooh, she kind of stopped running for a minute there, and that's going to be her death.
She's been having lag issues, I can tell you that, honestly. Or I think I might have seen it right there. I mean, generally people don't stop for no reason in the middle of a lane at a high level of play. But maybe she saw something on the side of the road that she found interesting. Either way, it cost her life, and she is dead now. I don't know about you, but if I see a beautiful flower, I'm driving. I just have to stop and really appreciate nature. Yes, that is Nymphora. Those nymphs, they love their flowers. You gotta expect a Kong coming up here, right?
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all. They have at least 20 seconds, really a solid 30 until Pyro is out as well to really try and do it. And again, the Hellborn team is so centralized that they can really do it. I suspect that they will at least force the Legion team to kind of react to a potential Kongor, and that's probably enough because at this time they can win a team fight. Yeah, they are ahead by about 20,000 gold.
If they Kong here, it forces Legion to come up, and more than likely Legion into a precarious position, and they can take that fight. At this point, I think that it's basically forcing a fight without towers involved, which I think is a good play. They've got wards, they'll see it coming, and then they have plenty of blinks to engage that fight. So I'd be doing that, but then again, I'm not as good as these players, so they're probably thinking something smarter than I am.
Well, one of the really interesting things for me, and one of the things that I'm looking at for my own play, is how to say, okay, we're ahead now. How do we move from that to winning the game? How do we go from being ahead to securing the win? And that's what we're going to see the Hellborn team do right now. Definitely pay attention for your own games as how they transition. And we do see them very much converging around this Hellborn pit. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen an eye on the Hellborn team yet, just to really kind of counter all those wards and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it actually, I felt like they didn't do anything with their time there. I felt like the Hellborn kind of wasted a good 30 seconds there. Out of the last minute and a half of time that they had comfortably, I feel like they wasted a good portion of it. I mean, obviously some of them were dead, and they, you got to go buy items and stuff. They can't do everything at once. Now they're beginning to do what I was thinking they should have done a little bit ago. They might want to grab that double damage, but they're going to be forcing this fight, and Legion, they're not a cohesive team, so they're going to probably be in trouble going for this Kong if they attempt to.
Yeah,
we just stop the Kong rather.
We see a Behemoth Heart pick up on Slither. Eclipse going to be so tanky on that Slither, as well as, just all the other items. We see a Slayer here on the bubbles, hopefully going for a Doombringer, and you can just see how fast Kongor is going down with just kind of their auto attacks. Managed to do just a ton of damage, especially with the minus armor aura from Andromeda. Looks like they are going to invis in as well. And we definitely look for a team fight here really
absolute
soon.
Max range on the bubbles port, and Pharaoh's out of position, essentially.
Don't even see that pick off there. Somehow Andromeda gets picked off. I think maybe the invisibility faded kind of in the middle of the Legion team. A little bit unfortunate, but the Hellborn team should still be able to push.
She walked up there and all by herself, lost in a parking lot at night, and people just mugged her.
I mean, she was dressed for it. Like, she was asking for it at that point. God, that is a horrible joke to make.
For those players that don't know, there is a buff timer, and maybe Andromeda lost her buff timer, but there's something that tells you you're going to become invisible in 2 seconds, and she didn't see that.
Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh because I didn't see what actually happened. Oh, very nice team fight here. Again, just an action-packed team fight. We see ultimates going off all over the place. A very nice Behemoth's Fissure once again, really doing a good job of trapping players. We see Corrupted Disciple trying to man up here on the Valkyrie, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Valkyrie's just going to be able to DPS him down. The creeps were just doing absolute work on him there, and Nymphora is almost certainly going to die here very quickly. Oh, but Pyromancer there to save the day. Of course, the Aegis is on Valkyrie. He is going to be able to continue the push, and I'll just be interested to see what manages to come out of this. We do see a GG from Grace, who manages to vote a pause instead of a concede vote.
I just want to point one thing out there, that at this high level of play, I love watching it because Corrupted is fighting Valk, and he knows he's going to die unless Nymph stuns. And Nymph stuns, which is the right move. He relies on his team. I mean, he still dies, but he hangs in there because you can't run. There's no running in that situation. I hate playing with some lower level players and seeing them run because you're going to die either way in that situation. So you might as well, if you're Pyro and you're dying, throw your ult. If you're Pharaoh and you're dying, throw up your mummies. Do whatever you can before you die to do as much damage so your teammates can get kills. And it looks like someone's playing Bubbles now, and it's pretty much over, I think, so...
Yeah, definitely looks like that's going to be enough. We're seeing a little bit of a cleanup here on Pharaoh. I kind of expect that to be a little bit of the swan song here for the Legion team. Nymphora caught in the Bubbles ult. She's going to get picked off as well by the Valkyrie. And this should be the GT's well played, but again, Breezy on that Pyromancer, just doing one little kind of middle finger there at the Hellborn team, getting the pick off, and that'll probably be the end of it.
Breezy's had an interesting game, to say the least, as Pyro. You've been crazy porting in and getting a lot of kills for the team, which actually is probably not that great. They'd rather have those on Grace. But that is it, folks.
All right, well, there's the GG well played. Very well played by both teams. You know, it was really fun to see the Leisure team still perform really well when they were really out-farmed. They used their positioning. They used that behemoth to really kind of keep them in the game for as long as they could. Really great game. Any final words there, Hatch?
No, we're going to do another one probably. That'd be my guess. But that was my first cast, and I think after the first few minutes, I got a little distracted by my girlfriend. But that went pretty well. I saw some good play in there, some good team play, surprisingly good team play for teams that aren't teams. So I'm impressed with what I saw.
All right, we're going to wrap it up for there, and hopefully we'll be back with another match soon. Until then, we'll see ya.